Hey, welcome back to the Aaron LeBauer Show. I'm your host, Aaron, and today I thought I'd do something pretty cool. I just get a lot of questions, and I thought I'd do a little Q&A today. We're going to be talking about all different things in the practice. So I have a group. It's called the Cash PT Nation. If you are a physical therapist, occupational therapist, and you're looking, or someone else, and you're looking to run a physical therapy cash practice or occupational therapy cash practice. I'm going to talk about that in a second. We've got a group on Facebook. It's called the Cash PT Nation. You just go to Facebook and put in the search Cash PT Nation, and you'll find it request to join. When you request to join, I'm going to have 3 questions for you. 1, I want to make sure that we only bring in the right people. And 2, I put a lot of time and effort into the group, and so I want to make sure we get your information. And 3, I want to deliver you some really cool stuff like Cash PT checklist, 35 marketing strategies, and send you some links to some free trainings. And so when you come in the group, when you answer the questions and you leave your contact information, not only will I get you in the group with the 6,500 other people that are in there, but I'll send you information, free resources, trainings, etc. And so one of the questions I have when you come in there is, if you could win an hour of coaching with Aaron valued at $1,000, what would you ask? I mean, hey, look, actually the hour of coaching with me is $2,000 because I have people paying me $2,000 this spring for an hour of coaching. I just sold one of those yesterday. So what's that question? I'll give you 2 things. We're going to talk about those questions, but number 1, like someone said to me a few years ago, "Oh my God, Aaron, I'm in the wrong business. I charge $2,000 an hour for coaching because I don't want to do one-on-one coaching with most people. Like that's just not really the type of coaching I want to do. I want to do $150 an hour coaching or $300 an hour coaching and answer the same question, thousands of times. That's why I built my course, the Cash PT Blueprint. And that's why I put together our Platinum Mastermind group. You can do an hour of coaching with me for $2,000, or you can join our Platinum Mastermind group for $2,100 a month and get even more value out of that, more resources, more access, more time, more ongoing support, etc. So, that's where this question comes from. The questions I'm going to ask today, and so there's that. I just want you to know, like while people do that, like my intention isn't to do those kinds of calls all day long because that's trading time for money. But the people that are willing to pay that are people with a business big enough to know that in an hour they can get some insight and strategies on their business to go make an extra $10,000. I can do that for pretty much any business that's generating clients or patients. Is look at your business and identify opportunities, bottlenecks, etc. Get you moving forward and help you generate another 10, 20, even 100,000 or $500,000 just with the answering a couple questions. And so, just for context, that's where that comes from. And I've got programs that are much better values. So if you're just getting started, we've got our Blueprint, Cash PT Blueprint case study program. And if you're interested in that, message me the word case study over on Instagram. We've got our Platinum Mastermind, which is for people that are scaling multiple 6 and 7-figure businesses. And if you're interested in that one, you can DM me the word mastermind. And we've got a brand new program. It's called the Cash PT Academy. This is for people that have already started their business, but they're doing less than 5K months, struggling to get things off the ground, need some direction, need a game plan. And, if you're in that zone and you need some help and you're in between the Cash PT Blueprint because you got your business launched. We've seen a couple people, but it's not consistent and you're not doing 6 figures yet. DM me the word Academy and I'll get you details on that program. The other thing I want to share before I get into the Q&A is in the beginning, I was like, Cash PT Nation and, it's for occupational therapists and, there's chiropractors and acupuncturists and stuff in there. Hey, if you're listening and you're not a physical therapist, I can probably help you. But it's not just can Aaron help you. It's what are the business principles you need to learn? And this is one of the mistakes I think a lot of people make. And the reason I kind of laugh is because I've got an ad for the book and it says, I say, hey, if you're a cash-based physical therapist or even an occupational therapist, and occupational therapists are like, oh, even an OT. Well, for years, people have asked, well, does this work for me as an OT? And I've put, probably 10% of the people that have come through our programs, maybe 15% have been occupational therapists. But if you're a healthcare provider and you want a cash-based practice, these principles are going to work for you. There's very little that's specific to physical therapy But look, I'm a physical therapist. My niche is physical therapy, and that's what I've chosen. And that's why I didn't write a second version of my book for occupational therapists, because it still works. So just those two lessons I wanted to start off with. And then I think the third lesson is, if you have a Facebook group and you're not collecting phone numbers, or not phone numbers, emails and information as people come in, and using it and putting it automatically in your CRM and your marketing platform, you're missing out. So that's the third lesson. It's a great lead magnet. It's awesome. And it provides a lot of value. So in Facebook groups right now, they're different than they used to be. There's a little bit less engagement. I can post in there and there's less engagement. So if you're running a group and you're like, no one's responding to my stuff, I've had clients do that. It's like, don't freak out. The group still serves a purpose, because guess what? The group's going to serve a purpose for you today, because I'm going to answer some of these really great questions that have come in recently. And I'm just going to like pick and choose them. And I'm going to kind of go backwards from the latest, but a lot of these questions are very similar to the ones that have been coming in. So hopefully just those three things are helpful for you before you even get into these questions. And if anything is helpful, I'd love to hear about it sometime. Feel free to let me know. Shoot me a message on Instagram at Aaron LeBauer. I'd love to know what's helpful for you, what you'd like to learn more about, because that way I can create more content on YouTube, podcast, in our courses and programs that are going to help you specifically. Okay, so let's get to a question real quick. This is a great one. What boundaries did you set with clients that you wish you had set sooner? I haven't had people ask me this one. That's why I wanted to start with this. This is great. I think boundaries are really important. I think the biggest boundary is around time. So for me, scheduling my day and clients, that boundary was pretty tight. The boundary around cancellation no-shows for me was really tight, because as a massage therapist working in a spa, I had the people at the spa didn't respect those boundaries, and that became a really big issue for me. And I'm a real stickler for the cancellation no-show policy. The way we currently do it in our practice is, we charge the full price of the session. We tell people it's on their paperwork. We tell them at the time of booking, and I think we tell them in the time of booking, and then if the first time it happens, we remind them of the strategy. Not the strategy. We remind them of the policy, and we say, "Hey, cool. I totally get that life happens. First one's on us. Second one's on you. Fair enough." And if it happens a second time for a reason that's not like a medical reason or act of God, then we charge them. But we're not in the business to charge people. But we need to set that boundary. So I set that early on. A lot of people don't do that. But the one that I wish I'd set sooner was my time outside of the clinic, answering emails and messages. I even have this now with coaching. It's hard to set a boundary around, hey, can you ask that question in the coaching group? So I have a standard reply, like a text replacement. I use Boards app. Reply says, hey, this is a great question. Can you please ask it in our group? That way, not only will you get a answer quicker, you're more likely to get faster. Other people can learn from the answer as well. So when people DM me a question and you're not a client, I'm like, hey, can you ask this in our Cash PT Nation? If you're in our case study program, Cash PT Blueprint, hey, can you ask this in the PT Business Ignition program? Or if it's a Mastermind member, Cash PT Academy member, it's, ask this in our Platinum Mastermind group. Because then I also try not to, respond to those messages, late at night when I shouldn't be responding. But here's one hack. If you are a late evening responder and you're responding to patients and you don't want them to know that you're responding to them late at night, because, you really should have that boundary, but sometimes late at night is when you can sit down and do stuff. Using Gmail and PT Marketing Machine, and maybe you have some other systems, I can respond, and then I can schedule the message to send at a different time in the future. So that's a great question. So thank you, Monica. What's going to be my biggest hurdle starting our new practice? This comes from Julie. What's the biggest hurdle starting a new practice? I don't really know, but I'm going to take a guess. that it's sales and enrollment and charging the right prices. So there's a lot of questions around this. Most people think, and I just recorded an episode with Derek Nielsen, and I don't know if this one's coming out first and Derek's was before this or Derek's was next, but most people think that marketing is the crucial point. We only need more new patients, but it's really sales. Sales and pricing is the biggest hurdle, and probably feeling isolated and alone. Having family members and other PTs who aren't doing what you're doing, advising you on what to charge, how to do it, that you should or shouldn't take insurance. And so that's why we've got a group, and that's why I put together our mastermind group. That's why I put together our programs to not only give people information that you need, but but put you around people that can support you and help you and aren't trying to like save you or protect you by keeping you from taking risks. Business owners are risk takers, and you have to take a risk. Starting a cash practice is a risk, even in 2024. It's somewhat of a risk, but I would say starting a in-network practice is an even bigger risk, because we all know that Blue Cross Blue Shield at any moment can stop paying you. Starting any business is a risk. So that's probably the biggest hurdle. And then the next one is feeling overwhelmed with all the information and not having like a step-by-step blueprint or having a game plan. So, I think that's really it. I mean, if you'd like to get, if anyone listening, you would like to get a step-by-step blueprint to launching your practice, or get a personalized game plan to take your business from 6 figures to multiple 7, you can always go to callwithaaron.com and sign up for a free 15-minute new patient strategy call, where we'll figure out where you are, where you want to go, uncover some of the bottlenecks, and help you get a game plan if we feel like we're a good fit. So that's always an option. Here's another question. How do you develop an ownership mindset? This is great. This question comes from Rudy. Rudy, thank you. This is a great question. How do you develop an ownership mindset? Okay, ownership mindset, a business mindset. One, I think you can be told what it is. You really can't. You just be, hey, let me tell you what it is. But how you develop it, you got to go be around people that have it. Here's 3 places to go to be around people that have an ownership mindset. Number 1, you hang out where other business owners hang out. You go to lunch with them. You take them out to lunch. Please do not go ask anyone, can I pick your brain? Just say, hey, I'd love to take you to lunch sometime when it's a good day. And you go and you talk to them about business and ask them, how'd you get started? What's been the hardest thing? What did you learn? What do you love about it? There's that. There's like almost like this direct interview, but there's also going to events where other business owners are and just being around them, because Bedros says, success leaves clues. It does. Be around other people. It's not even, let me sit and talk to you during lunch about your business. It's like, let me go be around you. So, I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast, or maybe you heard. So I joined a cigar bar, a cigar lounge here in Greensboro. It's $500 a year. But guess what? The people that are up there is probably like 30% business owners, 30%, like, I don't know if they're called high level or C level executives, like business executives, and 30% like other people, who are EMS, paramedics, tech guys, trade guys. Even a lot of the trade guys own their own businesses. But just being around the right people with the right mindsets that you want to adopt, I think it's the saying of, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So don't hang out with assholes, and hang out with people who are where you want to be in life, and you'll start to get that mindset. And the other one is, read books about business ownership and leadership. So all the Navy SEALs books, you've got business books on leadership. I mean, there's a ton of people. And then I think, if I didn't mention it, is, belong to a mastermind. That's why I belong to, Boardroom Mastermind now. I've been in Bedros's and Craig's Empire Mastermind. That's why I run my own one for physical therapists and occupational therapists. You just got to be around other people. That's how you develop an ownership mindset. And remember, business is a long game. The time horizon for business is 5 to 10 years or more. If your time horizon in business is 3 to 6 months, you're going to have a hard time, especially starting out, or even starting a new program, or saying, hey, I'm going to try to hire someone and scale from a solo practice owner to multiple therapists. And if your time horizon is 6 months, that's going to be really hard. It's going to take you a couple months just to get the systems in place to hire a person. You hire someone first, and maybe it didn't work out after 8 months. 3 months, 3 years. Like business is a long time horizon. So get a long time horizon, an expectation that, I'm going to start a business and I'm not going to build it in 3 years and sell it. This is a 10 to 20 year thing. And maybe we build to sell and sell early or retire early. But business is a long game, and get in love with the game and not the result of the game and the destination. That's how you develop a business ownership mindset. So really awesome question. Okay, here's a great one. This is a clinical one. I've had a couple clinical questions in our mastermind program, and I don't always do clinical stuff. I think I have a lot of clinical knowledge to share. But I wouldn't say the word is shied away, but I would say, I built a Con Ed company, and I didn't like teaching Con Ed. Like, I would rather do some body work on someone or teach business. And it was fine. I like building company, but I didn't like teaching it. And so there's that. And then I also know that physical therapy comes in a lot of different forms. There's some of you out there that would never touch a patient, barely touch a patient, do a lot of exercise therapy, and get great results. And there's others of you that are like, I barely do any exercise. I do a lot of hands-on body work, and you get great results. And some of you that do more massage techniques like I do, some are doing more manipulation and needling. I mean, there's lots of forms of therapy. We all know that, there's not one way to help someone with back pain. So I don't teach a lot of therapy techniques, but I've got 24 years of treating people with chronic pain. And I think, the question is, how do you deal with patients that are improving, that have been consistent with their PT home exercise program? So look, this comes from Elise. There's a lot of different factors here. I think the things that come up consistently for me in my practice and with clients and people is, okay, they're not improving, but they're consistently doing what we say at home. Okay, I think there's one thing is, well, that's good feedback. Maybe we're not looking in the right area. Okay, how do I deal with it? Okay, I think the number one problem that I had, and I see other people have, is what are we measuring for improvement? Are we measuring pain, or are we measuring an activity? A lot of times if someone's coming in and we're promising pain relief, people can improve, their ability to run, move, and do life, but the pain can stay the same, and they don't feel like they're improving. They feel like it's the same. I had patients like that. Like, a patient came in, I was like, how are you doing today? He's like, about the same. I was like, oh, that's, I'm like, oh, that's too bad. That's shit. Third visit. I was like, so tell me, like, last week, did you do that 5K? He's like, yeah, I ran the 5K for the first time in 8 months. Well, he saw me twice, ran a 5K for the first time in 8 months. Third visit, he's like, oh, I'm doing the same. Well, he's doing the same right now, but he just ran a 5K. And the expectation I set was that we're going to take away your back or hip pain or whatever it was. But his activity, he wasn't able to run, and now he can run a 5K, but I didn't set that as the expectation. I didn't set the function, but it's not even the function. It's what's the desire of the person. This goes back into the sales. Is it the range of motion? Is it getting rid of the pain? If we could do that, what would that allow you to do? And going deeper, because I don't have to change pain to be able to give people a great result. I have to change their expectations and I have to set the expectations and change their ability to, their ability to basically capture the meaning of life, right? The meaning of life. Like, I need to feel strong and confident in my body. I need to have confidence. Like, yeah, it might hurt, but I'm confident that I'm not under threat. My body won't blow up if I run. It might feel uncomfortable. So that's where it's like, hey, these people can be doing their home exercise program, but the expectation is that pain's going to go away. Or maybe that's not your expectation, and their expectation is to run, and they're doing everything. Okay, what do? We look at it and we just tell them, hey, look, all right, so that hasn't made the changes. Let's go back and look at the whole body. Let's see what did we miss. I don't have to tell people, like, what did I miss? Cool, nothing's changed. All right, let's do something completely different. Maybe instead of trying to push a person forward, let's pull them backwards. One of the strategies I learned from Gray Cook and SFMA was a lot of times what will improve movement is resisting the movement rather than helping the movement. Like, do the opposite thing. So remember, you've got time. And the number one thing you can do for people is give them hope that there's a solution to their problem. So without knowing any more about person, that's the main things that I can offer there. How do you run your business account? What do you do to prepare for tax season? If you're a sole PT in your practice, how do you pay yourself out of your business account? Do you recommendations on who to bank with for business, etc.? So there's a couple different things to do, but currently, as a sole proprietor, I mean, make sure you work with not just a person that's going to do your taxes, but work with an accountant and someone that can help plan your business. But if you're just getting started, sole proprietor, sole member LLC, you can pay yourself what's called an owner's draw. As soon as you're getting over like $50,000 to $100,000 a year, over $50,000, you definitely need to incorporate, depending on the laws of your state. Once you're getting over $50,000, $100,000 a year, you may or may not be able to put yourself on salary as a single person like S Corp, but I think you can, especially if you hire someone else. I had, I think, at the time, like one of the things I did was we started filing as an S Corp, and I was putting on myself on salary, but it was myself and my ex-wife in the business. And so it might have been because it was one of us or two of us, but being able to pay yourself a salary is great. But I don't pay myself a full salary. I pay myself a regular, check every 2 weeks. Out of that, I contribute to my my IRA, but I have that because I have employees that I was able to use to set that up. But you can do a single person, like I think I have a simple IRA, but there's one if it's just you. So that's where financial advisor is helpful. And you max that out with your paycheck, and you pay some of the taxes with it. And you pay yourself, I don't know, $50,000 a year, whatever is like low reasonable. And then you take owner's draws on top of that. You are your business, so the taxes kind of pass through, but that's the best way it was done for me. That may not be the best thing for you. So that's how I pay myself out of the business account. I can just set up a regular weekly transfer, regular bi-monthly or monthly transfer of money. I do it more frequent because it's less money that moves at the time, and the accounts have a less swing. Do I recommend a bank? There's a couple different banks. If you're traveling, you want to be, and you're going to have employees, you want to have a bank that's easily accessible, especially for deposits. I've always used it was called Wachovia, and then it got bought by Wells Fargo at some point. And so now I'm Wells Fargo. And then during the pandemic, one of the local banks, Bank of Oak Ridge, was the one that was able to get me the PPP loan, and they worked with me, and I did my checking through there, and I started wanting to have my employees deposit the checks again, and realized that their local branch was 3-4 miles away. And while I could deposit online, my employees couldn't. And to get them a deposit card, I could do that, but they'd still have to drive, I think it was like 4 or 5 miles away to go make this deposit once a week. Whereas Wells Fargo is, half a mile away. And so I went back to checking with Wells Fargo because it's just much more convenient. It's a bigger bank, sometimes more of a pain in the ass, but they have enough money to make the online banking and the app banking, just so much easier than the local bank. I still use the local bank accounts, but I use that in a different, for like a profit first strategy, which is something you can learn about. It's not my strategy, but we teach that in our mastermind as well. I don't teach it for clarity. It's a trademark term, but I give the framework around it, and we give data and resources, and we have this, it's a strategy for paying yourself first. And I use it for that. I use Bank of Oak Ridge for that right now. I also have a home equity line of credit there, which is great. So it's great to have multiple banks, a local bank and a national bank. Start with a national bank. Let's see. How do I get high paying cash clients? This is a good one. This is from Victor. Okay. How do you get high paying cash clients? And the shortest answer would be say, hey, work with a coach that knows how to do that. Charge the money. But you have to feel comfortable and confident that what you're charging is what it's worth. I mean, if you are not confident that you can deliver value, or that people should pay, that you can sell visits at $250, $300 or more, then you shouldn't. But if you're only charging $150, you're going to have a really hard time making profits and growing your business and helping more people, because if the business doesn't stay open, you can't help people. How do you get them? You get them the same way you get low paying cash clients, with the marketing, with the branding. So It's not about the demographics. It's not about the location. It's not about how many people live in your town. It's about what people value. And are you selling what people value? And selling, quote, physical therapy, end quote, isn't valuable. No one values physical therapy. They don't value that. They value what they want, and what I started talking about earlier. What do they really want? They don't want more range of motion. They don't want more strength. They don't really want less pain. They want to be able to do what that thing is keeping them from doing. And they don't even just want to do that activity. They want what that activity means to them. And if we can solve that problem, we can get patients who, and you have a enrollment process, and we don't just sell packages, we sell like a program, we sell a plan of care. We can get patients to pay high prices for physical therapy, but it's not really high prices. I don't think $300 is too high for physical therapy, because guess what? 8 years ago, people were paying $600 a unit for physical therapy. And I have documentation of this $600,000 units. I have $1,000 unit documentation that's posted on my blog. And it's been so long. I mean, it's crazy. So $300 is a deal. People come to us a lot in the beginning of the year. Why'd you choose us? Well, your prices are less than what the hospital is going to charge me, because they have a $5,000 deductible, and they got to meet that. And you know what? Hospitals billing out like $300 to $400 or more per unit. And we're doing that per visit, which is 3 units. I mean, that's a deal. Okay, let's do one more question. How do you hire a great PT in 30 days or less? You don't. I mean, maybe you do, but the number one thing is my recommendation: don't rush the hiring process. Okay, you can hire a PT in 30 days or less, I think. I mean, the tough part right now is there's more jobs than there are physical therapists. I don't know if it's people are, leaving the profession, but I know this: if you own an insurance practice and reimbursements are stagnant, declining, or going down. I know a lot of places are going down recently, even some Medicare reimbursements and the whole change with PTAs. Like, you can't keep raising prices. So people are probably leaving the profession because they can't pay back their loans and are going into finance and real estate and I don't know, some other things so they can make some money selling medical devices. How do you hire a great PT in 30 days or less? Okay, here's how you do that. You already know the person. You already have the job opening. You've got the expectations. You've already hired other people. The whole system is already there. And you just happen to run into someone who's like, hey, I'm looking for a job. And you're like, sweet, I got a job. Let's meet. And they are amazing. I've walked into a couple restaurants and just asking for a job that I didn't think that I never had stopped by before, because I didn't think I was qualified. And I showed up and they're like, yeah, we need someone to be a bar back. And I got a great job at Restaurant Lulu in San Francisco. I got a job at Alice Waters' a restaurant in Berkeley just because I walked in, but I didn't belong in there. They just had an opening that day. It might happen. Generally, to hire, you need, here's what we do, is you need like some kind of hiring system, even like an application, because the last thing you want to do is go put a job posting on Indeed and get hundreds of applicants. Even if we do PT and we get 10 or 20 applicants, like, I need to somehow filter them. Okay. Am I going to interview all of them while I'm busy treating patients? So we have like a little questionnaire application with a little, what's it called? Like a test or strategy at the end. Here, do this. Send me an email that says exactly this. And if they do that and they can follow instructions, at least I know that they're interested enough to follow instructions. And then I can do more of an interview. But then they might not even, let's say that happens on day 5. Okay, now they got to quit there. We got a week to hire them so that they can, now they should give 2 weeks notice. So you're looking for an unemployed person. So this process probably should expect to take 4 to 6 months, because we need to build out like an application process. We need to have SOPs. We need to have systems. We need to be able to train them. And then to get them fully up to speed, you got to get them in and you got to show them how to like just book clients, do the documentation on your system, how to get in and out, what to wear, what to dress, and that whole process should take longer. So I think it's a cool question. I mean, that's why I answered it. It's because it's kind of possible, but man, that's like, what was that, finding a unicorn? I doubt that'll happen if you don't know the person already and you haven't already talked to them about it and you don't have anything systems. And then you got to feel like, okay, how do I get patients on their schedule? And that's a whole nother question that I don't have time to answer today. Let me just do one more. How did I get started? Okay. How did Aaron get started? Well, I was a massage therapist, and I saw 43 patients one day as a PT student, and I was like, there's no one's going to hire me to treat patients the way that I want to do it. And I'm not seeing this many people in insurance space. So how I got started was I went and I found a mentor and I said, hey, I'm trying to start a practice. And I had started my massage practice in Greensboro, and I utilized that to kind of leverage some of the systems from that to build a PT practice, and I did it. And it took me a long time because I did not have like a specific physical therapy coach helping me grow my cash practice. I went through the APTA, I went through other places and like regular channels, and it didn't really work. I had to go outside the profession to do this. So how did I get started? Because I didn't see a path for me getting a job at the hospital or even becoming a primary care, physical therapy, specialist at the local, physician's office, because PT doesn't reimburse enough for them to pay me $80,000 a year to treat patients the way that I think they need to be treated, which is, we need to take time to figure out the root cause of the problem. So I got started out of necessity. How would I do it again? I've got a whole podcast on how I would do it, I think, if I started over in 30 days. So just go check that out. But that's how I got started. And it was crazy because I saw 43 patients one day as a student, and I was like, there's no way I can do this. And I was already a massage therapist for 8 years at that point, and I had seen people who had failed, whose physical therapy and orthopedic surgery and, the medical system had failed them by scaring them, by giving them no hope. And, I'm able to touch them where they hurt and give them hope, and they feel better. And they're like, oh my gosh, like no one's ever done that. I got started out of necessity because I needed that, because I wasn't going to go work in a job, and I knew I needed to be able to do something different. I knew the patients I was already seeing needed something different than what the opportunities were. And then as a coach, I got started because people started asking me for help, not because I thought, ooh, coaching is going to be a good job. Coaching is going to be better than treating patients. Coaching is going to make me more money. It's because people were asking me for help, and I started helping them, and I liked it. And I wanted to grow it, and I wanted to help even more people. And it was a way for me to help more patients, all at the same time. If I can help 20 of you, help 20 more people a week, then instead of Aaron seeing 20 people a week himself, that's 20 times 20, that's 4,000 more people a week that I've somehow impacted, even if just a small amount. So that's it for the show today. If you are like in a phase of business where you need some help growing even faster, you just want to move faster, you want to get a personalized game plan, it's so overwhelming that you don't know exactly what to do next. Maybe things got stuck or stagnant, or you're like, I just need to get more people in. I need help with the hiring process. I need help with, tracking metrics and scaling, whatever it is. Maybe you don't know what you need, but you know that if you had some help and had some outside eyes, you could grow this faster and do it in less time, less effort, make more money, and help even more people. I'd love to hop on a call with you. Just go to callwithaaron.com and fill out the little form, check out the videos, read through the page, and we'll hop on a call and see if we can help you. And we'll figure out, it's a free call. There's nothing to sell you on this call. It's just a time for us to say, here's where you are. Here's where you want to go. Here's the gap in between and the roadblocks. And if we feel like we're a good fit to help, then we schedule in another time to talk about what that looks like and go over any of those details. And if we're not, we'll point you in the right direction, whether it's to a free resource, to another coach or another program, software or something like that, to help you with the issue. So just go to callwithaaron.com. It's Aaron, Aaron. And I'll see you on the next episode. And then, like I've said before, the one thing that I want you to do is take away your one idea from this episode and execute on it, take action on it. And then if you find yourself getting stuck, whether you come to me or go to somewhere else, ask for help, because the most powerful thing you can do is ask someone else for help, and then be gracious and allow them to help you. And then later on down the line, you pay it forward, return it, whether you return the favor to the same person or you pass it along. You share your wins and lessons and you help someone else. I'll see you on the next episode. Adios.